Governor of the Central Bank, Arjuna Mahendran, says that a 4.4 deficit of GDP could be achieved if the one-off taxes introduced by the interim budget was implemented in its entirety. He made this statement speaking exclusively to Newsfirst yesterday.
Projected growth rate for Sri Lanka.
We are projecting a growth rate of over 7%. I think 7.5% should be reachable. And that is based on the fact that there's renewed confidence in the economy. And we also think that the growth of private sector credit from the banking system will also help growth along. So I wouldn't be surprised if we exceeded our targets, but I'd be cautious and just say 7.5% for now.
The IMF mission head in Sri Lanka had noted recently that achieving a 4.4 deficit of GDP will be challenging for Sri Lanka. Do you agree?
The Honourable Minister of Finance has cleaned up the numbers and he has put forward much more realistic revenue targets. But even there, when you look at the broad picture, the collection of government revenue has fallen to 10.3% of GDP. I think the challenge for the Treasury in 2015 is to raise that revenue collection to go back to at least 15 to 17% of GDP and hopefully improve the fiscal deficit. But I think 4.4% could be achieved if these one-off taxes which have been imposed in the recent mini-budget were to be implemented in their entirety. So let's wait and see. It's too early, I think, to make a definite projection on this.
Sri Lanka needs to go for a balanced economic strategy. It's a general sentiment that is expressed by many economists. Do you think that sourcing loans from China alone is a threat to our economy?
We have no problem with China, but obviously the Chinese government was funding a lot of this investment in projects through bank loans. And as a general strategy, it's not a good idea to take all your bank loans from one lender, particularly when you're a country like Sri Lanka. So from that perspective, it's probably good to diversify the sources of loans. And I think the strategy is to diversify the number of countries we deal with. That would include, obviously, countries like India, Japan, and eventually the United States.